I am Caroline Baldwin. I'm the Features and Special Projects Editor at The Caterer magazine, and I'm delighted to be speaking to Libby Davis today to be uncovering...
Thank you.
to be uncovering what today's workforce needs from all of you in the room today to stay happy, healthy, and engaged in the industry at a time when we are all so desperate for staff. So, Libby, we had a conversation a couple of weeks ago, and it was clear to me that you are completely in love with hospitality, and you've had a really interesting career already, and you're only 23, which is pretty impressive. But also, I wanted to say a quick congratulations on your new role that you started this week. You are now the Conference and Banqueting Manager at the Mercure Walton Hall Hotel, so massive congratulations. That was started on Monday. I think, yes, another round of applause. Starting with all the clapping. I'm loving it today. This is great. So, how did you get into hospitality?
I think, like a lot of us, I started about the age of 15, and it was just the casual working for a catering company, just doing a bit of waitressing in the local community. At the time, never saw of it as a career, just thought it was a bit of a part-time job whilst I was doing my studies. And then when I moved to university, I still didn't see it as a whole career. So I just studied business management. It was quite a broad subject where I could explore different parts, like the marketing and HR side. And then it wasn't until I graduated and realised that actually, from all my experience at uni, I worked for the radio station and festivals and marathons. And just coincidentally, it all resulted to that hospitality industry. It's what just I drew to and where my spark was. So then when I graduated, I joined the Juries and Leonardo graduate scheme, which was brilliant. You know, I learned all about all the different departments, front of house and back of house. You know, I was a chef in Chef Whites at one point. I was rubbish, but I had a great time just learning like how it works behind the pass. When you're a waitress, you don't understand the stress they go through. So it was a really good like 360 experience. And then because of the pandemic, it all went a bit wobbly with the graduate scheme, but eventually I got a new role, specialised in weddings for a little bit, and then 3 days ago started my new job, which is basically doing this today, so it's nice to be a guest.
Oh, I bet.
So yeah, that's kind of how I got into it.
Fantastic. And you said to me when we spoke the other week, there was a point where you did nearly leave. There was a business management year that kind of stole you away a little bit, but there was a key pivotal moment in a lift which really struck you. So would you like to share with the audience what that was?
It was a really special moment, actually, where, as I said, I didn't ever expect it to result in a career. And when I was at uni, I had to do a graduate placement scheme. And a lot of the career fairs were always very, corporate, and there was all these big brands. And when you went to a career fair, to be honest, there wasn't much of hospitality, if any. I don't remember seeing any. So I joined this program. It was very office-based. It was like a recruitment. And, I hated every second of it. And I remember attending a big conference like this, and I remember getting back to my room and thinking I've had a really rubbish day. And I got the lift, and this woman got in the lift with me, and a member of staff, one of the management team. And she was like, "How's your day been?" And I was like, "Oh, rubbish." And she said, "Oh, well, come for dinner later. We've got the Marco P.O. White restaurant." And within 30 seconds, that lift, she just made my day. And I got back to my room, and I was shutting the door and thinking, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I love events. I've done all these festivals, all these marathons. I've done all these banqueting as a waitress. And now I'm in an office. And I was like, what have I done? So I quit about 5 weeks in. It was meant to be a whole year. And a lot of people might not agree with that. My parents definitely didn't at the time. And then eventually, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to join that graduate scheme. And it got me back on my final year of uni, and then a year earlier to graduate to get on the scheme. And that's kind of how I got my management position now at such a young age, was to make that quick decision of not wasting time in what you don't want to do.
And it wasn't just your parents, but your tutors as well were quite surprised as well. They almost didn't see hospitality as associated with business, which is bizarre. Yeah,
they thought that business was always the marketing, the HR and finance, and didn't see how that related to hospitality, but of course it does. It's a whole industry. And yeah, my tutor, bless her, she was just like, "Are you sure you want to be a waiter?" And I was like, "It's more to it than a waiter." So, yeah.
And do you think that that's somewhere that maybe needs to change? You were talking about careers fairs and not seeing hospitality there. Do you think it would have encouraged not just you, but your peers to look at hospitality a bit differently at that crucial stage when you're making those big decisions?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, well, as I said, people don't see that broad picture of how many opportunities there are in hospitality. It always has been quite narrow to you pour pints and you make cocktails and then you serve food, or you're on a reception desk. But you know, even yesterday I spoke to a member of staff just out of the blue. She was just an agency, and I said, oh, would you ever think of this as a career for you? And she was like, oh no, I do sustainability at uni, I want to work in sustainability. And I was like, doesn't draw it out in hospitality. There's so many things you can do. And I was chatting to her and she was like, I never thought of that. I never thought of all the projects that would happen with, you know, making festivals greener and things like that. It's not always just, you know,
get her
restaurants.
talking to Sue at Watley Manor, don't we,
Yeah.
really?
And it was never something that my tutors or universities spoke about. We already did case studies on hotels. It was always quite narrow-minded, I actually think. But
So talk to me about why you think so many of your peers are leaving. So clearly you're not leaving anytime soon. Hopefully, we need you. We need you. We need you in this industry. But there are, you know, rafts of people, especially over the past year or so, that are doing. What people your age? What are they saying to you? What are your friends and colleagues saying when they're leaving? What's your gut feeling?
I think the past year has made a massive difference in that it's not just those that don't want to join the industry at all because they've seen what they don't like and what they've heard about they don't like, but it's also those that were in the industry and had a bit of a bad experience or felt a bit neglected from the pandemic, and then they've ended up leaving and finding alternative work. And I think it's just a really frustrating topic sometimes that we always focus on the negativity. And recently I was a guest at a wedding and I went down to Cornwall and someone asked me what I do for work. I said, at the time I was a wedding events manager, and they were like, oh, low pay, long hours. And I was like, is that a slogan, like, for the hospitality industry? Is that what everyone thinks? And it was quite frustrating then, because I thought that's just a negative image that everyone thinks, you know, if you want to work in hotels or whatever, often, you know, whether it is parents or peers or colleagues at university are like, it's not the right, you know, do you want to do those low wage and all those peak hours? But we never talk about how incredible it is, the amount of opportunities we have. You know, as I said, I've done that many different types of events. That's where I got at the age of 23, and you don't get that in other roles. And I remember Kate mentioned it earlier that you can be that young and get that much experience of management and supervisory positions. And I think, yeah, for now, we should be speaking more positively, sharing it at universities, making sure that everyone's aware of the opportunities. And even from management, you know, I think sometimes I often get that impression that all the managers moan about their job. They say, like, oh, God, I've been here for 18 hours today and I've only had 3 hours sleep. And often people, especially those that have just joined, look up at that and think, oh, God, I never want to be a manager then, because that's what it looks like. Whereas we should be saying, yesterday I ran a whole conference and, you know, we did all these amazing things and I made that wedding happen. And that way you can talk more positively about how incredible it is, as opposed to just the constant moans. I mean, I know we all moan, but
you either have the moan or the martyrdom, don't you? You either have, oh, God, this has been a terrible day, or, oh, look at me, I've been doing a 20-hour shift, and who wants to look
And that's what
up
it is,
that?
because when people are doing these ridiculous hours, the biggest issue I've found already, and I've experienced it myself, is burnout and exhaustion, where you are working like 90-hour weeks sometimes, and it absolutely destroys you, to the point where I lost my voice completely. And I know I talk a lot, but nothing would come out at all. And it was really hard then, because I physically couldn't, my body was like not happening. And to prevent that sort of exhaustion, and it's such a brushed up topic in hospitality that, that's what we do though, it's not okay. And that's why people are leaving, because they just feel like they just are a single bedsheet being stretched on a double and they can't physically fit it. And I think, we should stop that martyr position of, the more hours you work, the more you're going to get promoted, and it shouldn't be like that. It should be like work smarter, not overwork yourself all the time.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about that working smarter and the career progression. Obviously, you're seeing yourself and where you can go in your career, and what techniques should people out there in the audience be using to help encourage people to avoid the hours, talking about the hours and the smart working, and what's your advice there?
I think it stems from both really. I think it's that kind of like word of mouth of how we talk about the industry. You know, there's a lot on LinkedIn and even TikTok at the moment that I see of industries having so much fun and companies showing about, you know, they had a Halloween party and they were chucking pumpkins. And when you see that, it makes you want to work for them a lot more than, we offer this discount or we offer these certain rates. I think a lot of the time when you see the fun they're having and the opportunities they have, that positive, that positive image is brilliant, but also training managers to be able to delegate better and to be able to manage their time better so that their staff aren't running around, ridiculous hours of the day and really hurting themselves, both mentally and like physically. I think, often we don't know how to fix the rota and make it flexible to suit people. And I think flexibility is quite a key word, in that often we think that the flexible working is to fit the organisation, that you're expected to stay till midnight and then start again at 4 a.m. because you're flexible, but actually it should be more of, how can we work around you? Do you need a split shift to pick up your kids from school? That's attractive to people.
Yeah. When you hear
and
flexibility,
I think exactly. And if managers can have more, I definitely need the training. I'm only new, and I definitely need to work out how to fix the rotas to suit people and to keep it more inclusive for everybody. Because once people, it's easy now. We've experienced it. People just up and leave. There's no sort of loyalty there anymore. It's kind of, you can't treat them how they want, or what their expectations are. Even to mention that in my interview, it was like whole reverse. It was like, what can I get from them? It was less so what they're gonna, it was completely reversed. I think now we should be understanding what they want and what they need.
And is this the interview, the most recent interview?
Yeah.
So you said something really interesting to me when we had our chat about, when we were talking about loyalty, and you were walking around the grounds and you felt you were interviewing them rather than the other way around. It's a
really
very strange situation at the moment, but they
it was
want
so
you.
welcoming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And wasn't there a question that was asked about how long do you want to stay in the business for? And tell the audience what you said, which I thought was very brave.
Well, he just said, so how long would you stay the position? And I was like, probably a maximum 2 years. I said, I've got my career plan, I know what I want to do, and if I stay longer than that, then unless I needed it for more experience, but if I feel that I've got what I need and I'm ready to progress, I am going to go. And he was like, brilliant. And I was like, oh, so I did pass.
Yes, because that's a lady who knows what they want, what she wants.
But I think that's the right way to do, because if you're going to be honest, I'm not there to be their puppet for 10 years. I really want to use this, and they can use me at the same time. It's a mutual relationship. Mm-hmm. And, even when I left my role at Jury's Inn for the graduate programme, I rang my manager, and it was the middle of the pandemic and there wasn't any roles, and it wasn't falling apart at all, but it was, there wasn't enough opportunity there for me to learn anything else because we were all still on furlough. And this opportunity came up to become a wedding and events manager, and he was like, I wish I could give you the job. I wish there was something there, but there's not. Go and make us proud. And I think that phrase, make us proud, was, although you're not with us forever, we've built that. And that's a nice opportunity for you to then move on. And he was proud to say that he could get me in that role.
Of course, and if we're all having that experience, it's going to be a circular movement of everyone being passed along, but uplifted, rather than, you're deserting us and you're leaving us. I suppose it's all to do with your career management, isn't it? But you talked a little bit about recognition as well, and just some of we've only got a few minutes left, so we don't want to go necessarily into some of the bad experiences. But talk to me about what from some of the times when you thought, oh God, is this right? Maybe I need to move on or leave the industry. What is it that you needed at that point on those days when you were thinking, oh, that's it? What did you want from that manager or that employer in that particular role that you weren't getting?
I think I needed, it sounds silly, but a simple, you've done a great job. I think often it is such an overlooked thing that it's, just to say thanks for today. I would never leave a shift without thanking every single member of my staff. And often it's something that everyone forgets, and it's so simple. And just to recognise what people are doing and to notice, that was really good what you did over there. I saw how you dealt with that customer. It was really, really well handled. And even if it's not, that was really confident, but next time let's do this. Having that constant attention to what your staff are doing, I think it's as simple as that, really.
And do you think it's a case of everyone's just so busy and rushed off their feet that they forget to say it, or do we need to almost implement that in training? So you're now in a manager position. You will soon be managing up to about 15 people when you can find the staff to fill those roles. Do you think that other managers out there need to be trained to say thank you, or is there more to that?
I don't think anyone should ever have training. I think it's a basic human, and we're in the industry because we love it and we love people, so we should love our people. Mm-hmm. And it's quite a straightforward thing to ask for, I think. Of course, not everyone is perfect and gets a perfect well done every day, but just the simple recognition. Also, understanding that not everyone wants the same thing. I quite like a thank you, whereas some people shy away from things like that and they feel quite embarrassed. They'd rather you didn't. And it's understanding what people want and don't want. And even in the case of when you're recruiting people, learning why they're working for you in the first place. Is it a side job at uni, or are they actually looking for a career out of it? And how can we, if it is not their career, how can we give them the most experience to get their next job, even if it is totally different industry, you know, what projects can you put them on? What events would suit them? What responsibility? You know, they're really into tech. Let's put them on AV and get all the lights. You know, let's train them on that instead.
Yeah,
I think it's tailoring what people actually need. It's not always recognition. It's not always pay rise or, you know, bonuses. Sometimes people aren't motivated by money.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes you just need to take a breath, really, and think and
just
what
have
would
a
that next
chat
step?
with people, honest conversation with your staff. It doesn't have to be this checklist of every member of staff are going to get this. It's just, you know, why are you here? Why do you love it? You know, what can I do to give you the best experience with us?
Talk to people. And I guess the final question, because we've only got a minute or so left, is just, you've started a new job. What do you want to achieve in your new role over the next year? What's the big thing you want to get out of this?
I mean, obviously, I love my guests. I love that. I mean, I put together events like this, and I love that. I love that people can come in and have that whole experience of the day. But my priority now is to build a team where everyone can go home at each shift and love it and have a great day. I think I've been there where I've gone home and cried, and I don't want to put anyone through that. And I think if I can, you know, everything we discussed today, whether it is, you know, making it more sustainable and making people feel that they're welcomed and they've got the right support and, you know, reducing the turnover that we have, then you think we've achieved something. And just, yeah, if I can build a team and be a manager that I aspire to have myself, then I think that's what I've achieved this year.
And I'm sure you definitely will.
I hope so.
Thank you so much. It's been really fantastic speaking to you, and hopefully a bit
Thank you.
inspiring for everyone in the audience. Thank you.